Hello everyone, welcome to Network Jungles. Today we talk about the basic troubleshooting in networking. These comments are very useful to troubleshooting in the network field. Let's discuss them one by one in detailed manner. So first command is the ipconfig, which shows the IP address. Let's take the command prompt. You have to type the command ipconfig in the command prompt. So first one is the IPv4 address. So it shows 192.168.29.152, which is related to class C private address. Then submask 250.258.255.0, and the default gateway is the 192.168.29.1. This is the IP address of the gateway of router. Next we talk about the ipconfig/all, which shows the IP address and the MAC address of the host machine. Let's take the command prompt. Here my desktop is connected to the Wi-Fi device, so it is the description 802.11n USB wireless LAN card. Then physical address, it is the layer 2 address. Then it is also called data link layer in the OSI format. Then 00E02D, it is the organization unique identifier in which company can manifest this board. Then 872E09, this is the sequence number of the board. Here it is the machine is DHV is enabled, it can source yes. Then auto configuration. So auto configuration means IP address, then default gateway, then DNS server, then DHP server. Next you can see the IPv6 address as well as the IPv4 address. Let's take the example of the IPv4 address. So 192.168.29.152, this is the preferred. So it can act as the class C private address. Then submask, so 250.255.255.0. Then lease obtained and expired. So when it is obtained, then when it will be expired. Then default gateway 192.168.29.1. This is the default gateway of the host machine. So 192.168.29.1, which can act as the DHP server as well as the DNS server. So what is the use of DHP server and DNS server? So DHP server can release the IP address of the host machine 192.168.29.152, then default gateway, then DNS server information. Then DNS server can resolve the URL to IP address. It is the name resolution. Next we talk about the ping, which shows the reachability to the destination workstation. For example, I have to type the ping to the youtube.com. Here the DNS server can resolve the IP address, so can be IPv6 address. Then here the packets are sending and receiving successfully. There is no loss of packets, so 0% of loss. Then minimum time it taken the 17 milliseconds, then maximum time 19 milliseconds, then average time is the 18 milliseconds. Next we talk about the tracert, which shows the path to reach the destination. So I can tracert the youtube.com. So the DNS server can resolve the IPv6 address of the youtube.com. Then it can source the how many nodes between the web server and web client. So web server is the youtube.com server, then web client is the client machine of the user. You can see the 11 nodes between the web server and web client. So here the finally reach the destination of the youtube.com server. Here the tracert is complete. Next we talk about the nslookup, which can resolve the domain name system into IPv4 address or IPv6 address. Then let's take the command prompt. I have to type nslookup in the command prompt. So here this is the DNS server, then this is the DNS server address. For example, I have to type the google.com. It can resolve the domain name into IP address. This is the domain name. Then it can resolve the IPv6 address or IPv4 address. Like another example, facebook.com. So the facebook.com address can be resolved into IPv6 address as well as the IPv4 address. Next we have to talk about the ARP table. So ARP, so which can learn the MAC address from the real-time communication. So I go to command prompt. So ARP minus A, which can understand the MAC address from the real-time communication. So static means it can be default by itself in the host machine. So dynamic means it can be learned from the communications. So 192.168.29.1, this is the default gateway of the PC. It is the router IP address. So corresponding MAC address, which can be learned in dynamically. For example, you have to delete the ARP table entry. You have to type ARP minus D, then followed by MAC address. Like I type the example. So this is the command to delete the ARP entry in the host machine. Next, getmac space minus V, which can source the physical address of the machine. You can type getmac minus V. You can see the third column of the table, that is the physical address. So you can see the lot of physical address in the host machine. So which is first one is related to Ethernet port, then second one MAC address is related to Wi-Fi adapter, then this address is related to VMware adapter. So now the device is connected to internet, it can source /device/TCP IP like that examples. Next, network statics minus A, which source the section IP and ports. It can source the RT connection of the host machine. Here first column you can see the protocol, it is the TCP or UDP. It is based on the layer 4 protocol. Next one is the local address. So local address means that is the host machine of the IP. So this is the source IP address, then source port number. So this is the dynamic port, it is related to layer 4 protocol, it is related to layer 3 protocol, already told. Then foreign address, it is related to destination IP and destination port number. So mostly we request the web browser, it is related to 443 port, so it can be called as HTTPS. The section is closed, it is based on the layer 5 protocol. Listening established, so the connection is established, it is closed with to close the connection. Here you can see the what other ports are opened in the UDP protocol, 500, 4500, 5050, like this. Next one, network statics minus R, which can source the routing table of the host machine. Yeah, you have to see the interface list. This is the MAC address of the machine. Next, IPv4 routing table. So all the networks goes to the default gateway. This is the host machine of the IP address. It is the loopback IP address for checking the host machine. It is connected working the 7 layers. So it is working even though if it is not connected to the internet. If we add any manual route, it can source the persistent routes. Next, route print. So network statics minus R, then route print. Both are same purpose. It can source the routing table. Next we talk about the ipconfig /plus DNS, which clear the DNS cache of the host machine. For example, you have to type ping yahoo.com. So it can resolve the IPv6 address. If the website is not working fine, you have to try the command ipconfig /plus DNS, which clear the DNS cache in the host machine. Again you have to ping yahoo.com. It can resolve the another IPv6 address. So this is the one basic troubleshooting in the networking. Next, if the host machine is not getting the IP address, you have to try the command ipconfig /release, then it not getting the IP address. ipconfig /renew, which can get the IP address of the host machine. Yeah, now we got the IP address of the host machine, submask, then default gateway. Next one is the ncpa.cpl, which shows the network adapter settings in the host machine. For example, you have to assign the IP address statically. You have to type the command ncpa.cpl. It can open the adapter settings. So you have to manually set the IP address 192.168.25.125, the router gateway. For example, if any website is not working fine, you have to try that Google DNS for troubleshooting purpose, or otherwise you have to use the local DNS. Yeah. So now you type ipconfig /r. It can source DHCP is not enabled because we have to type the IP address manually. So this is the IP address of the host machine, default gateway, then gateway of the router, then DNS server of the host machine. If it is you have to type statically, it can show no. If it is yes, then DHCP is enabled. Thank you. I hope this video is useful for you. Thanks for watching video. Click the bell button to subscribe. Let's see our next jungle video.